Thanks, Matt, for the introduction. As you said, I'm Chris, one of the co-founders of PipePredict, and we enable reliable and sustainable supply through pipe networks. It sounds a little bit abstract, so for a practical example, just imagine you wake up one morning, you have a super important appointment that day, so you want to go there by car, you just leave your house and then you see this. This was actually caused by a pipe burst in Berlin a few years ago, but nowadays no one can really be sure not to be affected by a pipe burst because they're kind of like ticking time bombs below Earth where no one knows when and where the next one is going to burst. That's simply because pipes are buried below Earth, so no one can see the current leakage status, and pipe bursts happen without prior notice. And with this way, utilities worldwide lose water worth 173 billion euros each year. But as we found out in pilot projects, not only utilities have problems with leakages and bad knowledge about their pipe networks, but also other industries which are using pipes to transport media. So for example, district heating companies, oil and gas pipelines, and the chemical and pharmaceutical industry. And what utilities or these companies are doing to solve that problem is in most of the times actually this. They wait for the pipe to burst, only then to repair it as fast as possible. Or if they cannot afford having bursts and a lot of leakages, they do rehabilitation strategies and a lot of inspections and spend a lot of money on that. So utilities have to wait until they see the leak, then start emergency repairs, which are of course quite expensive and time intense. And in this way, utilities worldwide lose up to 50% of their distributed water. 50%, that sounds insane for us. So we came up with an idea. We came up with a digital solution which can be implemented into already existing pipe networks. Therefore, we first of all need pipes, of course, to monitor them, but we also integrate already existing pipe sensors from within the pipe network from different manufacturers and different types of sensors. So for example, pressure sensors, flow rate sensors, and acoustic sensors. And those sensor data is being transmitted using newest signal transmission technologies like LoRaWAN or narrowband IoT. This is necessary for us because we are focusing on analyzing the data. And for that, we create a digital twin of the pipes network, which is kind of a 3D model of the real pipes network, but with all the physical properties in the background. So for example, the age of the pipe, the diameter, the material it consists of, where which kind of sensor is placed and how the network is meshed, and so on. Kind of a connection between physical world and sensor data world. And with this connection, we can analyze the existing sensor data with our self-developed algorithms. This is a supervised machine learning algorithm, but also some physical algorithms which help us to monitor the network in real time and also send out alerts in real time if there's something changing in the network. We then localize leakages very precisely down to 3 to 5 meters. And in future, we also predict when and where pipes are going to burst. All of this helps our customer to reduce costs for repairment processes, for reducing losses, and also for digging up less street because we're finding the leakages very precisely. And we enable plannability so that limited resources like material, budget, and labor can be planned in an optimized way. And this is also very interesting for industry parks because they have to plan 3 to 6 months ahead. Also, we increase resource efficiency, that's why we're here, and increase sustainability. Our saving potential is more than 250 megatons of carbon dioxide per year, according with water and district heating pipelines only. And with our real-time monitoring and predictive maintenance, we help that there are no more emergency repairs and no production stops in industry parks. But why is now the right timing? So pipes in the network have been aging for, at least since for a lot of time. And in Germany, since World War II, there were a lot of pipes replaced, and they're lasting normally 60 to 80 years. So there's a need.
1 minute warning.
Yep, there's a need. Pipes are aging and they need to be replaced. But according to statistics, everything needs to be replaced, and utilities need to know which pipes to replace first. And cultural and social trends like urbanization, population growth, and climate change, and just make the problem bigger. But the good answer is utilities and public funds have known about that problem and are giving some money for that. And the even better news is that now the technology is available with smart sensors, with signal transmission, and with our solution for analyzing sensor data. So we built up a right team for getting that problem solved. We have an international interdisciplinary team which covers all of the necessary needs, currently supported by 6 employees and an advisory board, as Matt saw, for example, from Übermorgen. So if you're also interested in decarbonizing pipe networks and helping to have a reliable and sustainable supply through pipe networks, just join our vision. I'm happy to answer your questions now.
Perfect. Let me bring back our other investor panelists. And then I would hand things over first to Brian. What questions do you have for Chris about PipePredict?
Sure. How you doing, Chris? Thanks for the presentation. Just so I understand on how this compares to the current solution I saw in the slide, there's sensors and other things that are transmitted to the operators of whatever project or things that they own the piping system that's in place. So with the digital twin version of this is to essentially provide another layer of analytics that shows, like, where do you see the biggest compelling avenue on the digital twin piece, which I see is what is one of the big value add factors of what I see on your platform?
Mm-hmm. Good question. So the digital twin helps us to have an easy and scalable solution for not having to create a hydraulic model of the pipe network, because that's the current approach or the normal approach to generate a hydraulic model, which is quite very time intense and a lot of maths you have to do. Only then you can insert the existing sensors into the network and analyze them. And our solution, like our digital twin, can be optimized and can automatically also be created using already existing geoinformation data. So we use that as a connection between the physical world and the sensor data world in order to analyze the sensor data. Otherwise, you would have to build very intense models in order to analyze that data.
And so just a quick follow-up to that question. Are you then integrating with the sensor information that you have with those particular partners? And is there standardized sensor mechanisms for various pipes, or are there all different companies with different types of sensors and things that you need to adapt to and develop new software to adhere to the different types of sensors, different types of pipes? I'm sure there's a plethora of them.
There's a lot of sensors within the networks. Yes, utilities install whatever they have and whatever they find best. And over the years, what was technologically leader, we have no problem to integrate all of these existing data. If they are already transferred to the utility, we can just use a RESTful API in order to integrate that data and to analyze them then. And we, of course, look first of all in the network, what kind of sensors already in place and what precision would be able with our analytics in order to find leakages and detect them. And afterwards, we get back to the utility and ask them if the precision is necessary or how precise the precision is necessary, and what additional sensor would be necessary in the pipe networks in order to get to that precision. But we also optimize that in order to not install a lot of sensors, but use existing access points and thus have fewest investments on sensor, but getting the highest data quality, which we need to find the leakages.
Got it. I'll pass it off to Jake or Matt.
Take it away, Jake.
Questions, but I don't want to just take up time. I'm trying to be cognizant of the format here.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, so I've got two questions really. First is just what's your current traction?
Our current traction regarding customers is that we have installed or we have implemented one solution for a customer already last year with Engie, which is an energy supplier from France. And we have converted them into monthly paying customer through that project. And since then, we have started 8 new projects and also plan to convert them into monthly paying customers. In each project, we already sell 6 months of analyzing sensor data and then transform them to monthly paying customers. So we have projects in district heating, in water networks, and in industry parks.
Cool. Okay. So you sell them 6 months. Is that like a 6-month free trial?
No.
So you're saying,
that's paid also.
Okay, so 6-month kind of discrete trial, and then you move them on to recurring revenue, right? Yeah. And a challenge from selling into this space is clearly utility companies are not famous for being agile and nimble. So the sales cycle can take a long period of time, as can, obviously deploying, not deploying your technology, but more, for example, providing water or waste to a hospital or something like that is quite an important strategic regulated utility. So I'm curious what your current estimate is, bearing in mind your traction of your sales cycle is, and what your thoughts are around how you might be able to accelerate that over time.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We actually really see that in the area. So we have planned 6 to 12 months of sales cycles in order to get the customers on board. Of course, it takes a little bit of time until they are on board, but also the space is very well connected. So one utility is telling the other one what's working well. So within this utility, if we have proven our concept, they will spread the word, and that's a good approach for that area of application. And also another point is that these utilities mostly, or big utilities, mostly not provide only one network, but several networks. For example, Engie, our first customer, has 45 networks in France and more than 200 networks worldwide. So of course, we also try to sell up within the customer, and that gives us a lot of traction.
Yeah. So is it safe to say your current focus is European or Northern European utilities?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. And
European, I would say.
Would you mind just talking around the thinking of moving away from just, say, one type of network, say water, and into, say, things like water and district heating? Because I appreciate with a data-driven technology like yours, there is some value in having a really deep data lake. So obviously the more, and then that will obviously come in time, regardless of which application you're in or which type of network. But just curious as to why you're kind of splitting that lake to start with across different types of network, rather than just majoring on, say, water or district heating, etc.
Yeah, good point. We, first of all, our vision is to reduce losses and energy losses, or media losses and energy losses in all kind of pipes, which are transporting a medium, like a liquid or a gas, under pressure. So that's why we also have the different markets like chemicals and production and oil and gas pipelines on our pipeline, development pipeline.
Yeah.
But we have started with utilities because it has the biggest climate impact, and also with energy networks because they were in a really need of a solution. There's no digital solution currently to retrofit in the existing pipe networks to monitor them. So they were really eager to have a monitoring in their pipe networks. That's why we started with them. But as we found out also with chemical or producing companies, they're also very interested in reducing losses. That's why we also had already 2 pilot projects, or we are currently having 2 pilot projects in the industry parks.
So pulling on that thread a little bit more, I agree with Jake on saying, having concentrated focus in a certain area, really to have a number of analytics that you can then in turn show to a utility or other entity and say, like, here's the proof point. So what can you briefly describe what the selling process is to them, given where you are with your stage, and perhaps don't have a robust amount of analytics to show, like, here is proof cases, because this is almost like a liability type of insurance piece. It goes like an OpEx type of thing to ensure that you're mitigating losses instead of more of something for growth. It's, to protect bottom line for, different entities. So can you describe just real briefly how you interact with the sales process?
Mm-hmm. So for networks, to get that right, water networks are transporting water, but also district heating networks are using water to transport the energy. And also in industry parks, these are liquids. So we're basically gathering the same information, and we are using different types of sensor data, for example, pressure data and acoustic data, where we have already pre-trained models in order to find anomalies within these networks and within the patterns of the acoustic data or the pressure data. So that's how we focus on like one specific topic on pipes. But of course, the market is bigger than that. Oil and gas pipelines are in the future, and gas pipelines still need to be developed by ourselves. But we are focusing first on that. But does that answer the question, or am I going in the wrong direction?
Yeah, I guess maybe there wasn't a definitive answer at like the stage and where you guys are in your life cycle. Obviously, there's thing of anecdotal evidence of showing how this is, saved X amount of dollars due to being upfront about a potential problem and show it through a couple, customers and those things. And that certainly will take time to get to that point.